Hi guys. So my name is Matt Harris. I'm representing Get Your Comic Con over here in London. So thank you very much for taking the time to join us this evening.
Matt, thank
Hey,
you.
Matt, good to meet
Happy
you.
to be here.
Pleasure. So going straight into it, with My Hero Academia, it's been airing for nearly 10 years with over 170 episodes, four movies, and at least five video games. We're sad to say goodbye to one of the strongest Shonen Jump stories of this generation. In your own opinions, what was it that drew in so many fans for this anime that made it into the juggernaut that it is today?
One, it taps into that sort of superhero trope that is just so very much part of the zeitgeist now in general and has been for 10, 15 years. But it does so in a way that makes all of these characters incredibly relatable, and it also just really captures that period in life I think we all feel when we're young and in school and we're not sure who we are. And it kind of maps out each character's personal journey in discovering that they have a right to their abilities as they are, and that their kind of mission, whether they know it or not, in kind of an eagle's eye view of things, is to learn how to do right by the people that believe in them, even if they don't necessarily agree with that. And it really captures something. I think it really speaks to a lot of people that that want to be a hero, or that but don't feel like they're anywhere near being able to live up to the example others have set for them. And I think that makes it very profound, very special.
I would add to that I think telling the story from the point of view of an outlier in the society, in this world that's been created, who doesn't have a quirk is an incredibly brilliant choice in terms of being able to bring in an audience that can immediately relate, because none of us have superpowers. And so it's like, and yet he's kind of the fish out of water in this society of superpowered people where it's so common. I thought, even just back then, I remember thinking like, that's such a cool take on the superhero story. And then, and then extend that out into the world. And it's like this world that he's created full of these really vibrant characters that seem to be drawn from, the real world, but are just different enough to be interesting, that are gateways for lots of different people from lots of different perspectives to see themselves in the story and to be interested in the story as it goes. And so, credit to the creator who has built this world that was able to draw in so many different people, that it cuts across the mainstream in a way, and still does to this day.
These characters are kids, right? And they're developing, and the whole story feels to a degree to be a story about development, about growth. And so these are flawed characters, but the brilliance of the storytelling for this particular piece is that they're all getting to spend this 170 episodes developing and bettering those flaws. And so it's pretty slick to get to see something come together like that. But I think that's probably one of the reasons why it's so relatable.
Definitely, definitely. So starting off with yourself, Justin, Kirishima, he's been a pinnacle for positive masculinity in the anime community, having some truly amazing moments throughout the major arcs of the anime. And even in being able to break through Bakugo's defenses to actually be his friend. Um, how has it been for you to see the fan base lean towards Kirishima the way they have for this positive influence and almost trying to imitate it into their own lives?
Well, they're all so manly. It's been pretty amazing and fun to see. The fans have really added to a whole other level of how this franchise is special, and it's not only has the show kind of changed the way I feel about the show, but the fans have also had an effect on that. And so it's an honor, but it's and a privilege, but it also feels like a lot of responsibility. So I could certainly tell you, and this isn't just with me and Kirishima, it's with every single actor and every voice that they're working on. I mean, we're throwing everything that we've got at these characters to hopefully breathe, an English bit of life into them for this language. And so again, it's just hopefully I'm doing it justice.
You definitely are. I mean, Kirishima is my personal favorite character in the show. So yeah, I absolutely adore the guy. Go across to yourself, Chris. you've obviously played the most lovable teacher in UA, even though he's half in a sleeping bag most of the time. We're lucky enough now to get more of him in the new year with your spin-off show Vigilantes. Are you excited to explore more of his past, which, while alluded to in the main series and lightly touched upon, the series I feel is going to go into a lot more detail with?
Yeah, I think the word you said was lucky, and that's exactly how I feel. I feel the fact that I get to spend some more time in his shoes going forward is incredible, and especially getting a chance to go back and voice scenes, the kind of like we got in season 5 of My Hero, where we're coming to terms with some of this unfinished business from his past related to Kurogiri, related to Shirakumo. And some of those moments have been the most emotional and impactful moments for me personally as an actor voicing Aizawa. And so the prospect of getting to do more at this stage is like winning the lottery. I'm feel so incredibly grateful to get a chance to move forward with Vigilantes.
Definitely. Very much looking forward to seeing it all play out. I've read the manga, so I know what happens, but I cannot wait to witness it.
Same.
And regarding Tenya Ida, so his character obviously started off arguably as quite a funny side character, but quickly pivoted into this walking the path of vengeance for what happened to his brother. Did your approach to the character change after recording that arc against Stain?
Yeah, significantly. I mean, any character I play becomes like a personal friend in a way, and anytime they go through something or make a choice like that, it's like watching a friend do something that you're like, what are you doing? Don't stop. But now we have to deal with that now. But it was understandable. I mean, like, I totally get where he was coming from, and it was such a powerful narrative device to have Ida be the one to go through that thing because he was the last person you would expect to make that choice. But it makes sense in terms of like he loves his brother very much. He's devastated that his brother has been taken off the board, and he's put in this tragic situation where he feels that he alone is the only one that can right this, but the only way to honor the example his brothers has set for him is by betraying it. And he doesn't realize that until it almost cost the lives of his friends, and that's when he really what a great moment that he does learn that, like, instead of like resenting them, he realizes, oh my God, what have I done? Because it's not just about me, it's about the other people that rely on me too, the way I rely on my brother. And so we find it's such a great thing, such a great story. But yeah, I had feelings about it. There's a line. It's when he literally says, "I can't watch this." When he's paralyzed on the ground in the alley with Stain about to, presumably kill his two friends who have come to try to rescue him, and it's the all is lost moment, and he says the words, "I can't watch this," and that was just me in the booth saying, "I can't watch this." That was I felt very connected to the character in that moment because it was so hard to watch him make that choice to be in this situation. And I think that's where he grew, because he was suddenly seeing himself in that situation and being like, oh my God, what have I done? And it was very powerful. I mean, we as actors get a lot of compliments on being able to kind of nail the emotionality of those moments just right. But I'm here to tell you, it's incredibly easy with material this good. All we have to do is just be open to it, and My Hero does not make that difficult for us at all. We just have to say what's there and take as real what's going on, and it just magically comes together because that's how great the show is.
No, definitely. So yeah, as you briefly allude to there, throughout the show, each of your characters have had many moments where you have had to go plus ultra in the booth, where you're screaming, yelling, emptying whatever's left in the tank to give these performances. How was it for you physically in the recording process to deliver all these scenes? Particularly for yourself, Justin, Kirishima, when he gets involved, he commits. I particularly remember the rescuing Bakugo when he shouts, "Come on!" That always makes my hair stand up on end.
Oh wow. Well, you know what? I started this business by being in rock bands in high school and junior high, and we never had PA systems, so I've been screaming over drummers and guitar players all my life, and I feel like maybe that was my hero boot camp that I went through back in the day, as it were. But you know, I as far as the physicality of it, to Michael's point, it's ultimately just letting the animation lead you. You know, as soon as you try to fight against that, you're messing with perfection. So, you know, kind of lean into what's happening on screen, and with Kirishima, it just feels like, you know, it's time to get loud. Let's commit.
That's brilliant. Thank you. So, particularly as a lot of you have history with anime voicing, English dubs, they've come such a long way in these last 20 or 30 years. For yourselves, what has been the best aspect of witnessing this change from within the industry, as well as its growth on the Western side of the world?
It's been amazing just having the opportunity to be a part of what has really been like a cultural movement, you know? It's been like it's been a groundswell of support across the board, across the mainstream for this medium, for the genre, and so being here for it, it's kinda like surreal, you know? It's like, looking back on how many people knew anything that I was working on, you know, 15 years ago, compared to now is such a vast difference, and, and all for the better, I think, because this art form really does tell incredible stories, and I think for the longest time, when I would sort of tell someone what I did, they would say, "Oh, you're in cartoons." And yes, but but it's not Bugs Bunny, and it's not, you know, it's not that there's anything wrong with those, but it's just a different sort of story that's being told in such a sophisticated way. And so being a part of that, and seeing the popularity for it grow, seeing the awareness for it grow has been incredible.
Yeah, and I'll piggyback off of that for a second. You know, I've been doing this for over 20 years now, and it feels like compared to where I started, you know, we were all in those days, you know, maybe kind of felt like we were all just a bunch of renegade theater kids making dubs with no oversight. You know, it was delicious. It was great. I loved every minute of it, you know. But we truly had a passion for what we were working on because we were fans of the material. And so, of course, if they'd be like, "Hey, do you want to be in this? Do you want to help adapt this show?" We'd be like, "Oh, duh." And there was such a freedom to it, and it was so lovely. And if you'd have told us in those days where it would end, where it would eventually flower into being, this huge cultural movement, like Chris said, like we wouldn't have even known how to begin to believe you. But it's really nice to kind of feel like something we've loved doing for so long. It's such a there's no business like it in the world, really. I mean, we get to work with our friends all day, breathing life into shows that, you know, that tell these great stories in interesting ways. And as actors, it's very gratifying to be part of these very mature, you know, profound, nuanced stories where, you know, we're not limited by our appearance because we're voice actors. You know, I wouldn't. I mean, look at me. I wouldn't be Ida in real life. I don't have enough hair. uh, you know, but I'm not limited by that in the booth. And so it was just when I started doing this 20 some odd years ago, it was a great way. It was a wonderful way to flex my range as an actor in ways that other forms of the craft didn't always offer. And now that, you know, and because we loved it, it came into its own, and now audiences all over the world are getting to share that love with us. It's just really nice. It really feels like we backed the right horse.
No, that's brilliant. Well, thank you for that. As we're very close to wrapping up, what is the best moment in the show for you? Like, whether it's your own scene or a co-worker scene, what is that moment you just always think back to?
It's hard to choose just one, but I would say, you know, obviously the big dramatic moments are what make the headlines for this show. The incredible fights, you know, the sports festival, uh, you know, Deku versus Todoroki, the final battle with Overhaul. All these things are huge in my mind when I think about this show. However, being a part of it for so long, I also love how funny this show is and how it always seems to know the right time to inject a little bit of humor. And what stood out to me just in my mind right now um, was when Tenya and the rest of the crew dressed up in their undercover clothes and sort of were going undercover. That episode on its own is a very serious episode. You know, people are in the hospital. There's all these issues. Bakugo's been taken. And then all of a sudden we have this wonderful comedy relief. And I feel like the show, just the pacing of it and the plotting of it it's so good at knowing when you need just a little fun moment. And the fun moments are so much fun.
Well, thank you very much,
Here.
It's been an absolute honor to interview you all, and I believe I speak for thousands of fans out there. Thank you so much for all of the work you have all done over the last 10 years for what is a fantastic legacy of a show. So yeah, sincerely, thank you very much.
Thank you so much,
Thank
too.
you.
We appreciate it.
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate
Wish
it.
you all the best.
Thanks for watching, Super Friends. Check out more videos from across our YouTube channel right here. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share on all your favourite platforms. See you next time.